How many patients have you been able to cure so far?
You've got ADD, ADHD. Start a medication, which
We don't know if I give you a medication if it is going to work or not.
To a certain degree, it's trial and error.
You probably don't have ADHD, and that might sound controversial, but hear me out. I work with 30 average clients a week for years, and I've become a best-selling author in that time. And I can tell you, at least 2 times a week, I hear someone has ADHD or I'm going to get a diagnosis. And the stats are crazy. This is a Financial Times article that says over the last decade, prescription ADHD medication is up 45 times. So what the heck is happening? Well, in this episode, I'm going to share with you even why I might have ADHD. Think about this. If you believed you were stupid, what memories would you have about yourself? Probably the times you've messed up. If you believed you were smart, probably the times you've done something very well. And even if you were shy in social situations, you remember the times where you were socially awkward. And then also if you're a procrastinator, are you going to remember the times where you're effective, or are you going to remember the times where you're procrastinating? So there's an identity thing that's going on here. Tony Robbins says it best. He says, the strongest force in human personality is the need to remain consistent with how we define ourselves. And that our identity shapes how we view ourselves and what we do. Try this. Say to yourself, I am dumb because, and look at the answers and rationales that come up, and say the same. I'm smart because, dot, 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 dot. See, they're going to get different answers completely. If I line up all the words that everyone is, confident, shy, procrastinator, action taker, weird, fun, all of the words are behind us, all of the words are in us and in you. But which one do we stand closest to? I definitely wouldn't stand near weird, although some people might say I'd stand closer to confident. And if I take confident actions or actions towards confident, I'm going to grow or get closer to that word. It's going to be more part of my identity. Again, I need to remain consistent with my identity. Same with the opposite. If I don't take actions, I'm going to move towards something else, something I might not want to do. And here's an example of how it plays out. I had an 8-minute conversation. It was an hour long, but in this 8 minutes, a client hit his vape at minute 7. And why did he hit his vape? We were having a deep conversation. He says, oh, his awareness, right? He clued in and he said, I needed to hit this vape to cope. I needed to hit this vape to escape. You see, oh, I'm doing it. But the reality was he was judging himself off 1 second over an 8-minute period. And are you doing that over a work week? Are you judging yourself off 1 hour, 2 hours over the whole work week? And again, you might conflate these hours and go, well, no, actually, it's all of the hours. But let's actually have an actual situation around looking at these hours. You see, I've got my own struggle. I once had to set up a website, GaryTheExpert.com. It took me weeks. I thought it would take a day. I thought it would take an hour. I simply said it, get a website, it'll be 2 seconds and that'll be it. But I had to learn about hiring someone. I had to learn a little bit about coding, or what the heck is that? I still don't know. SEO. I had to go take photos for my website. This took weeks. I was blood boiling, temperature was off the roof, ants were crawling in my body. I hated it. I was frustrated, pissed off for multiple weeks. I definitely, in those moments, displayed symptoms of ADHD. And here's the reality of the situation. You're not going to get away from the work. If you go there, you go there. You sure, taking medication is beneficial, and especially if you've got schizophrenia, manic bipolar, and when it comes to attention, there's no way you're going to get around the work. I've seen it go 2 ways. One way, the negative, someone just gives up, plays the victim card for their life. And then, unfortunately, the positive way, I don't see a strong enough resolution, meaning that when they take the medication or they get some diagnosis, there's not strong enough tools. There's not enough validation or strength out there to actually get them to where they need to be or where they want to be. The truth is, I've actually never seen anyone who's always productive, always efficient, always on time, who has their house clean. Only when they invite people over, they have their house clean. Are you judging yourself so much of these moments, these glimpses throughout the week, that now you've created this identity or this thought process that you are this person? And let me tell you another anecdote from another client recently where they had a negative start and a negative end. So why would they start anything? They were passionate and loved art. They love it. They absolutely love it. It's one of their passions, but they couldn't start. They struggled with starting. Anything couldn't start. What was the problem? Well, he judged his art so critically and harshly that why would he even start? Because it's just going to be so bad. It's going to be terrible. He compared himself to other people, which made him feel worse. Yeah, there was no attachment to the future gain or reward. There was no thought process of, I could actually put this on a t-shirt and maybe make some sales. Maybe someone wants to hire me in some way, shape, or form for this work. It was this element of learning and practice. It was progress over perfection. These were the new associations of the future reward, that a simple session, a simple conversation that we had. That next week, he went off to do 7 pieces of art in 7 days, and they were beautiful. They were awesome. In fact, I thought they were just going to be kind of a couple of stick men. He said he wanted to do 7, but he actually went and drew a whole, I don't know if it was an A3 or A5 maybe piece of paper that was beautifully designed. It just took a simple shift in the mental weighing scale from one side to the actual meaning. You've got a negative end and a negative start, you're never going to have meaning to start. If you've got a negative end and a positive end, a negative start and a positive end, you're going to have a willingness to push through. But the reward has to be big enough. The joy has to be successful enough. The happiness has to be big enough. You know, if you're in a dead-end job and you're going nowhere, you're spinning your wheels, of course you don't want to go to work. Of course you don't want to do these things. It's not ADHD. You're just crying out for a different path. If you have a passion and you're struggling to do it, I don't think some medication is going to change your life to doing that. I talked about a medication for schizophrenia, manic, depressive, bipolar is useful. But when it comes to attention, I don't think anything beats goals, principles, and purposes. I really don't. There's a bigger picture. And have you ever seen the clip about a guy going to different psychiatrists and getting different diagnoses? In fact, he goes to multiple. They give him various different diagnoses. I'll show you a clip here.
I'm extremely unorganized, and I didn't used to be. It's caused problems in the family. It's caused problems getting, I'm self-employed.
You got ADD, ADHD, you're depressed, and your depression is bipolar depressed.
You have a brain chemistry disorder and it's probably genetic.
You have a lot of the symptoms of depression.
So it seems like it is a mixed picture. What that means is like we got some depressive symptoms and some, high symptoms.
If you're bipolar, I'll need to give you a mood stabilizer.
Considered low-grade bipolar.
Getting a diagnosis will be helpful, but if that is your out card, which human nature is your out card. If you look at any path, it's always cut shortcut. We might say that I never take her, I never do it, but human nature is that regard. And look at the question that this guy asked to those people as well. He simply asked, have you ever cured someone? Look at the answers.
How many patients have you been able to cure so far?
I would say 1.
How many people have I cured? Well, there are no real cures right now in psychiatry.
Yeah. The idea of you asked me about the issue about how many people I've cured. I don't know that any of us are ever completely cured of anything.
I have not been able to cure many patients.
I have cured none of my patients.
I'm not saying don't get help at all. I'm saying don't let a label define you, which I ultimately see too much. The reality is, don't judge yourself off moments, hours, even days or weeks where you've been less productive than the years and life that you've had prior. Again, we're judging ourselves off one corner that's dirty in our house compared to the rest of the house. We never say that actually I'm doing great here. I'm doing well. I'm productive today. We only say bad things. That's again human nature. Again, being critical, being negative is human nature. So maybe if you can start noticing and then getting closer to that identity of what you want, you're going to actually have a different mindset around these things. You're going to have different actions because you want to stay consistent with your identity. If this resonated with you, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you're struggling to start. Maybe I can help you shift into a new why, a new purpose. Maybe you can't see it because you're trapped in a rainy, cloudy day. And if you found this very helpful, it'd be great to get a subscribe, a like, and even build a relationship. You can follow me on all Gary the Expert on all socials. See you then. Thank you.